Quebec is taking a bold step to reduce emissions. The province has passed a law that requires automakers to sell a minimum number of hybrid, rechargeable, and electric cars. The hydro-rich province is the first Canadian jurisdiction to do so. Joe McCabe is President and Chief Executive Officer at Auto Forecast Solutions. What does this legislation actually mean?
So what it means is they're taking a playbook from California, right? So if you look at the United States and the states, all the states are driving it. California was in the leading edge of that because they're the most environmentally conscious state for this.
And legislatively, they're way ahead of everybody.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen is there's got to be an innovator on the front end of this, and Quebec's going to take the mantle and run with it. If you look at the penetration rates of EVs and plug-in hybrids in Quebec, it's high.
Is it higher than the rest of the country?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So there is an adoption rate there. There's a consumer that wants it. Now what they're doing is they've been providing the carrot this whole time, this incentive of anywhere from $500 to $8,000 per vehicle to actually purchase that vehicle. Now what's happening is they're going to provide the stick. They're going to try to push the manufacturers to offer more variants, offer more of those products in the province.
And part of the reason there's such high adoption rates in Quebec is they have the infrastructure to help with this, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. But one thing I look at, there's pros and cons. There's a lot of, it's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
When fuel prices are so low, people aren't looking at the electric vehicles.
They were sure looking at them when oil was at $100.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And then when you got companies like Tesla come in, where they're a sports car company that just so happens to be electric, right? They're changing the face of what these vehicles start to look like. So there's a changing dynamic in the industry, and they're trying to be on that leading edge of that change.
You say this is modeled largely on California. Are there 10 other states that have this, or 10 states in total in the United States that have similar legislation? How's it working out across the board?
Let's say it's at neutral for those states.
That's more than I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no penalty. What's happening is the manufacturers, what they can do is they can trade credits with each other. If Tesla sells well, they can actually, that's a big revenue model for them. Yeah. They can sell their credits to the ones that aren't making it up. You're going to see the vehicles are changing and what they look like, and they're more attractive vehicles now, not this space age thing that looks like an electric vehicle that people don't want to buy.
Explain to me, though, like if you're a car company and now you have to sell a certain number, can they trade this off? Can you buy credits? What happens if you don't
they can buy
them?
credits. So what's going to happen is they're going to offer their product, and if they don't push that product, they don't move the metal, then they're going to go to the other manufacturers that are moving the metal, and those manufacturers are going to benefit from that sale and sell those credits to those other ones for the balancing act.
And does the rest of Canada look on and say, well, you got a good idea there, or...
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Quebec's on the leading edge. I think everyone's going to wait and see. They're going to see how successful they are with this program and see if it drives the consumers. At the end of the day, if you're not driving the consumers, it doesn't matter what product you're building.
It's funny, sort of, if you think about the narrative of the electric car and where we've been and where we sort of are now, it felt like, as I say, when oil was at $100, it looked like this was a real option for people that wouldn't normally go to it. But the buzz around Tesla, the sales that they've been making, the interest around this, and the infrastructure that seems to be popping up, is this, I hate the term, but is this a tipping point?
I think we're not there yet, because you're not having an influx of people that say, my top 3 cars, one's electric. You have to, right now I think you still have an environmentally conscious buyer that's buying the electrics and the plug-in hybrids, not necessarily going, boy, the fuel prices are $6, I have all these issues in cost, maybe it's time for an electric vehicle for my family.
One of Elon Musk's big arguments is that in building his company, he's creating a market that other companies will be able to benefit from, but he has to create it and get out there and build it first. Is he doing that? I mean, we see, you know, the Chevy Bolt, for example, is chasing down his customers with the similar kind of product.
Sure. I mean, when people buy a Tesla, they're buying a Tesla.
Yeah.
When people are buying a Bolt,
they're buying an electric car.
They're buying an electric car. It's a fantastic vehicle, and the battery prices are coming down. They're making it much more attractive for the consumer to buy it. You got BMW coming in with the i3, we've seen a bunch of them, an i8. So you always have early adoption in the more expensive vehicles because they can charge for it. And as that adoption rate comes in, then you get the more economically friendly vehicles to get on board.
And so this helps. This Quebec initiative will push this slightly further down.
You know, it helps. The big risk is they're trying to do a 3- to 4-fold increase of their sales in a 2-year period of electric and plug-in hybrids. So the only risk is it doesn't get any traction, and then it loses favor.
Yeah,
That's correct.
All right, thanks for this. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.